Shkoya. Okay. Let's go. Let's dive into the Lord's Torah. Because the Torah is our life. It says in the Zohar that the clothing that you'll have for all eternity is your mitzvahs. So if you want some nice Louis, make sure you have tefillin, tzitzis. But your food, what's going to sustain you for eternity, is your Torah. The Torah is the food. The Torah is the mazon that's going to sustain you. You're going to be living on Torah for all eternity. And whatever you learned here, you're going to have, and you're going to go deeper and deeper into that Torah for all eternity. But if a person didn't learn it, they don't have it, they don't. And therefore, there's such a thing of trying to see the whole Torah, to see everything. See everything. And then for eternity, you're going to be deepening into that Torah. So we're learning a section of Torah, of God's unity. And we're going to bring a very important analogy to understand how God is one. Okay? We said that everything is being created through Devar Hashem. Hashem is creating the whole world, something from nothing. And not only is He creating the world something from nothing, He's constantly creating the world something from nothing. That's why there's no such thing as God leaving the world. The concept of a God leaving is only relevant if you say that God is something and therefore He made the world out of something. And therefore, just like a watchmaker can make a watch and wind it up and then leave, so the suggestion that God could do that is a complete limitation of the reality of God being infinite, that the world was not just created and leave. You can't do that when it's something from nothing. Meaning the world has to be constantly created every single second. So let's deepen into that awareness, how God is creating the world every single second. The cliffhanger we ended on yesterday was how the world is created every single second. God is infinite, but somehow after creation nothing changed. God wasn't limited by creation. You guys ready for this? Dylan, you ready? You mamish ready for this?
Okay.
Yeah? So he's going to bring in mashal. Okay, this is the 20th chapter of Tanya. I highly suggest everybody to get involved. Kamoi benefesh ha'adam. He's going to bring an analogy from something that you and I could relate to. Kamoi benefesh ha'adam k'shemedaber dibur echad. So you and I, when I say a word, pick a word, any word, pick a fun one.
Sahov.
Sahov?
With the color yellow. Right?
Okay, yellow. We're going to go with Sahov. English or Hebrew, what should we do? Sahov? Sahov. Yellow. Now, that word, Shediber ze levadoi koloi mamish. Does that word really have any significance? Afil legabe klolis nafsha medaberes. Could you say that the word Sahov has space, if you will, has significance compared to the faculty of speech to say words?
Huh?
I'll say that again. Did it went like this?
I didn't understand.
Okay, we'll go slow. This is, this stuff is good stuff. We'll go slow. When you say tzahov, I said it again. How much significance does that word have compared to the power within me of speech itself? Let's begin before the power of speech. How much significance does the word sahov have?
What does it mean?
What is sahov?
Yeah.
It means yellow.
Yellow? Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice word.
It has zero significance before it.
Okay, so we're going to get there. Let's make it easier. Not what the Balatani said. I'm going to make a simpler example. The word sahov, how much significance does that have compared to all the words that I've said in my entire life? Small amount, but it has some, right? You might say there's something there, but compared to all the words that I've ever said in my entire life, it's like, Sahov, I said it again. That's not the Baal Tanya saying. The Baal Tanya is saying, how much significance does the word Sahov have compared to the faculty in me called the power of speech? Meaning not just all the words that I've said, but what about the ability for me to say words? How much power is that?
It's like approaching infinity times more.
The ability of speech is, it's not only all the words I've ever said, it's the power of conjuring up any words. It's more than all the words I've ever said, because it's the ability to say all words and any words and as many, there's no end to it, right? So far so good. So the significance, koloi mamish, he says, it's like what power does it have, so to speak, like as I'm the man, Sahov, compared to the faculty of speech to say all the words in the entire world and the ability of speech? Does this word Sahov have much like,
No.
is he like the man anymore? What do you say? The wheels are cranking. This is an interesting point to contemplate. You guys ever contemplated this very point? The significance of one word compared to your ability to say words.
Well, the one word can still be, it's a conceptual space. The ability is like the space itself.
The word, though, is defined. It's Sahov. I said it. Yellow. That's what it is.
Yeah, but it's an abstract term. Like it can go.
But it's Sahov. It's defined. It even left me. It's even, you heard, you can record it. It's Sahov. I said it. It's true, you could branch off from Sahov. But the word Sahov, with the letters and all the definition, how much power does that have compared to the faculty that I could speak, which is unlimited words? Not even just all the words that I have said. All the words you could say.
So like it's significant when it's like by itself or like for its own sake, but like the reality is there wouldn't be here without the ability of speech.
Okay, do you hear where we're going with this? Okay, Yigal's like on his way. He's journeying in. Yes, Stephen.
We're like Hashem. We can create like an infinite amount of words.
Okay, so that's where we're going with this. Yes, is that we have the faculty of speech, which the power of speech can speak unlimited words. You're not limited. You're just, we're going to journey in. But you hear how one word, compared to where it comes from, right? When I say a word, we're obviously, this is all an analogy to understand how God creates the world. Because God creates the world through words. Okay, just keep that on the side though for now. We're spending time more with us. Our experience. Me saying one word, yellow, if I were to retrace yellow, where yellow comes from the faculty of speech that I have inside of me. That faculty of speech can say unlimited words. It does, at that point in the power of speech, there's all the words, there's everything. Sahov is also there. What's the proof? Because I said it. Must have been there.
Infinite potential.
But if I return Sahov, so to speak, what did Sahov look like while it was in the faculty of speech, the potential of speech? Does it have any like identity space?
It's a color.
It's a word.
Yeah, it's a word, but if I retrace the word back to where it comes from, don't you see how the definition of it, the separateness of the word is like returning and becoming unified back into me? From if I trace it back to where it comes from, it's like where's Sahov exist in my ability of speech that I have. I have a power called the ability of speech. So if I trace the word yellow back to the ability of speech, all of a sudden Sahov is unified much more with me. It has less like individuality if I trace it back. Okay? Just hold on to your tzitzis. Okay? We're ramping up here. Now speech, we're taught, is the second of our garments. I'll explain what that means. Just like you wear garments, Louis, you know? That's right. Just stay away from the poopy Louis. I'll tell you when that happens, because a person sullies their speech. A person who, just like you have a body, and the body has clothing that allow you to express yourself, allow you to interact with the world. Also share a message. Clothing conceals, but it also communicates. When a person puts on a police uniform, he's communicating something. The speech of a person is one of his garments. I'll explain. You are your neshama. You are a soul. But a soul has a hard time interacting with the world. Now, how do you go on a date? Two souls, they're just like this. You know, just the soul, like we're so just out of body. Or maybe they just hang out like this. So the answer is no, you need your soul to interact with the other person. Well, one of the first way the soul interacts is the first garment, the most inner garment of your soul is called the garment of thought. Which, if I were to stop the entire shir right here, what could you derive out from these words? Is that your thoughts are not you. They're just a garment. They're a way that the real you can express. They're a way that you can express. But just because you have all sorts of crazy monkey thoughts and, monkey brain, and your mind's going, meshuggah, doesn't mean that that's you. It's very important. Your thoughts are just a garment. They're very close to you. They're very intimate to you, but they're not you. You're deeper than your thoughts. One of the ways you can see this is you could watch your thoughts. And you realize, oh my goodness, there's a higher part of me. There's something higher. I can control them once you get good at it. A lot of people are just at the whim. They're like, I'm at the whim of, whatever's going on. Because they never got control of their souls. Then there's a more external part of how your soul expresses, and that's called speech. Speech is that your soul, and you have two souls, you have a godly soul and an animal soul. One of those souls communicate, whoever you're deciding to listen to at that very moment, communicates something to the mind. The mind will then have a thought. Then the more external garment will be speech. There'll be some level of speech of a person expressing what's going on in their brain. That's why the best way to see what's going on inside of people's brains, just have a 2-minute conversation with them. You see what's going on with them. It's like, no, I can hide everything. Yeah, just, speak for a few minutes. You could tell everything. What's going on? And then, what's the most external garment of your soul? Action. Action is the way that you fully express in this world the will of your soul. Either your godly soul or your animal soul. So the godly soul, what will it be thinking about? Torah. Helping people, avodas Hashem, having deep, meaningful relationships, beautiful relationships. What will it be speaking about? Torah, mitzvahs, compliments, positive reinforcement to friends. What will it be doing with its kli hamaisa, tefillin, tzedakah, helping people. Yeah, exactly. All that good stuff. Carrying, old ladies' groceries, helping your wife, whatever it is, picking up your kids. What will the animal soul be thinking about? Yeah, probably. Yeah, food. Boom. Right there.
In a more positive sense, yeah. And then in a more negative sense, some other things.
Yeah, there's really 4 main elements of it. Which are basically fire, water, air, and the earth. We'll get to another time. And that those 4 elements, both on the side of the godly soul and the animal soul. So the animal soul, most people think a lot about, intimate relations. Many people all day long, they just think about that. Some people are just sick, but other people who are called normal, but still think all day long. Just literally, they can't get that out of their mind. And what do they talk about? You guessed it. Not always the nicest things. And what do they do with their hands and their body? Pursue that. So those are the garments of the soul. You see how the garments are there to help the soul express itself? But you have to make sure that you dress up in the good garments. Okay, now we get back to Pupi Louis. Is that the good garments are like Louis. They're mamish, nice. Because they're garments of thought, i.e. thinking holy things. So they're wearing like really nice stuff, speaking beautiful words, acting. So you're creating these beautiful garments that you're going to have for eternity. Okay? But if a person sullies his garments, he takes these garments of his soul and he hijacks the garments and gives them to the dark side. So that's Pupi Louis that we keep talking about. Is that's you had a mind that could have been used for holy things, and you occupied it with filth. It's interesting we talk that way, like bro, stop with all the filth. Like you're watching filthy things. Literally, why do we talk that way? Like he's involved in schmutz and filth. It literally Pupi Louis. It creates just, my house would just say poopy. That's like nice because the kids, poopies. So, but that's what it is. It just sullies the garments. So a person wants to clean up the filth. He wants to clean up his mind. He wants to clean up his speech, clean up his actions. So he has to start refining the garments of his soul. Okay, so that was an introduction for step number 2 here. So we said, one word, if you trace back where the word comes from, to speech, which is the middle garment of the soul, i.e., what do I mean the middle garment? The most inner garment is thought. Speech is more external, and action is the most external. So the middle garment, not even the inner garment, the middle garment is the faculty of speech. So if I take one word, yellow, there we go again. That one word compared to the middle garment, not even the inner garment, the middle garment, where speech emanates from. What significance does the one word have within the faculty of speech itself? It's like bottled, it's like nullified within that space. Now what about if we trace where speech comes from? You know where that is? The inner garment. Okay? The inner garment. It's still a garment. The inner garment, though, is thought. What's thought? Thought is where the faculty of speech comes from. It's what gives energy to the faculty of speech. So let's go slow. If one word, yellow, is like nothing compared to the faculty of speech, it like dissolves within it. Like a drop in the ocean just dissolves. Then what about taking that one word that's already become nothing within the faculty of speech, and we take the faculty of speech to where does it come from? Comes from the mind, comes from thought. In that place, you must say that the word, which is already nothing in the faculty of speech, certainly when you return it to the source of speech, where speech it's getting its life force from, which is the machshav, which is the thought. What does one word look like in the source of speech? Pardon?
It's infinite, no?
What does the one word, sahov, yellow?
1 out of infinite.
We said, what does yellow look like in the faculty of speech? It's like nothing, right? If it's nothing already in the faculty of speech, what does yellow look like when you take what it looks like in the faculty of speech and then return it back to the mind, which is where all speech comes from? Now, by the way, you guys know you think in letters. It's the source of the letters. It's a Kabbalistic concept. That there's letters in speech. There's letters in thought. So the source of the letters in your mind, if it's nothing already in the faculty of speech, certainly it's nothing in the mind, which is the possibility of all thoughts, all everything. The beyondness of all the potential of the mind. Okay, you see how we're returning a word back to its source. Everybody see that? There's like a journey here of how I get to the word sahov. But I want to reverse engineer. How did the word sahov get to where it is now? Let's reverse engineer it back to its source. And then here's the kicker, the pièce de résistance. If one word, yellow, is like totally nothing compared to the faculty of speech, the power of speech itself, and it's already nothing, the faculty of speech itself, and then now you return it to the mind where all speech comes from, which you could think unlimited thoughts. But that's not even you. What about then the source of before the speech, which is the soul, which is the pre-psychic reality of your neshama? What does tzahov look like in your soul? It's like nothing. It just dissolves into the vastness of your soul. You only think that it looks like, wow, tzahov, yellow. It looks like something mega once it comes out. But what does that word look like if you trace it back to where it comes from? It's nothing. Okay. God. Okay, this is like the takeaway. You got to think about this. I know it's a lot. God is speaking everything into creation. Okay, this shtender is being spoken into creation. Shulchan, this is being spoken into creation. Using Hebrew letters. God also uses, so to speak, these garments and spheres. So if speech, for me, if I trace back a word into the faculty of speech, then that one word is like nothing. And if I trace it back into the source of speech, and speech I could say unlimited words, but I trace it back to where speech comes from, which is my mind, the ability to think unlimited things. But then I trace it back to my soul, which is pre-speech, which is pre-everything, which is just the undiluted essence of me. Then that one word is like dissolved. So when we say that God speaks things into creation, when it comes to God, though, nothing ever leaves God. So to speak, God is speaking things into creation, doing a similar thing like we're doing. We're taking something from the unified place of me and bringing it into actualization. God is doing the same thing with him, except that the word never leaves him. It's always inside of him. With us, it, so to speak, comes down this process of going from my soul to my thought to speech and then out, the faculty of speech, and then to a word, a delineated word. God does the same thing and is creating existence through that process of taking concepts and bringing it down, down, down until it's a word, and that's called creation, a revelation, except that when it comes to God, it never left God. It's all inside of God. If this was a lot for one day, it should be. Because this is mamish good stuff. I want you to think about this a lot. Think about this whole concept of how speech comes out. And that's why we can say that the whole world is like nothing. Because if you trace back the world where it comes from, it's all just coming from God's infinite oneness. Just like the word came from me, and compared to me, the word is like, it doesn't have space. It's like nothing. So God, it's the same thing, but it's really nothing because the word never leaves God. We're inside of God right now. My friends, think about this. We should be Zayich HaMamish to Meshut Tzidkin in every minute. Amen. Kol Tov, have a wonderful day, my friends. All the best.